Hello and welcome to this week's video. This week, actually come down to Watersmeet to walk up to the top to see if there's any bluebells up there. Again, I think we did the same last year, but unfortunately we're just a little bit early again. But anyway, taking advantage, the water coming down through the two rivers here is actually, because we've had very little rain recently, is actually very low. So it's opening up a whole load of new opportunities regarding photographs down along the river. So we're going to get a few shots whilst we're walking back down through. I'll talk you through this first one. Okay, so on the back of the camera there, this first shot, shooting at 1/3 of a second, f10, ISO 100. And what I'm using is this light stone here, where the salts and everything's been left from the water level is normally up around here somewhere. So obviously where it's so low, it's exposed these rocks. So you've got this nice light rock here with a leading line that will swing you around there and leads you to this flow of water. So other than the polarizer, got no filters on because it's quite dark, quite dull this morning. So get a couple of shots and I'll put them up and let you have a look. Okay, this waterfall here, you normally can't get anywhere near because of the height of the water. But it looks, if I can make my way around the edge there, it looks like I may be possible to get myself into a position where I can get a shot. So I'm going to see if I can negotiate my way around the side, see if we can get a composition using this waterfall. Okay, got myself into a position. Tripod is set up here a bit precarious on the edge. I'm sat teetering over the edge. Talk you through the composition. What I've got is this rock here with these. There's some detail in this rock here as a foreground, and then we've got some more rocks. Some more rocks over there. Nice bit of detail in them. Obviously where they've been exposed with the lower water flow. Waterfall, that big waterfall at the back there, flowing down through, and then it goes into some slower water with the bubbles coming out into this foreground scene. So I've got the polarizer turned down to take the glare off of this foreground water, so that the bubbles show up. I'm taking possibly 4 exposures. I'm shooting one at the waterfall, that's fast flowing water. So for that one, at the moment, I'm currently shooting, I've zoomed in and got a focus on the waterfall, and I'm currently shooting at f7.1 at 1/4 of a second. The reason for that is because that's quite fast flowing water, and if I shoot too slow, it just blows it out. It's just one massive blur. Whereas at 1/4 of a second, I've got the movement in the water, but there's some detail there as well as. So then what I'm also going to do is do some focus stacking on these two rocks to make sure I've got them perfectly in focus. and then I'm going to do a longer exposure to pick up this flow of these bubbles coming down through, which leads me down into the bottom left hand corner of the shot. So I'll take all the shots, put them together, and then hopefully, if it turns out like I'm hoping, here it is. Trying to line up a shot using the definition in these rocks, the cracks and the sort of moss in between leading into the shot. I think this isn't too bad. I've got this moss, this sort of foreground here with these textures leading back into the shot, and then in the background there we've got this bit of a waterfall, just this water cascade coming down through. Again, I don't want to shoot too slow because I don't want too much motion blur in that water. I just want to see some movement. So again, I'm shooting with no filter on, just a polarizer filter, and turning the polarizer just to sort of reduce the glare in these sort of puddles here, and just bring out a bit of definition and detail. Got to focus on this foreground, and then getting the shot. It doesn't look too bad in camera. We'll see once we get it in Lightroom and do a few tweaks on it. Shooting at 1/3 of a second, f9, ISO 64. Okay, this is a similar shot to before of how I'm setting up the shot. So I've got some rocks here in the foreground, and then we've got this water cascade coming down through here. So I've taken a shot on that. Again, I've sped the shutter speed up a little bit. I'm up to 1/4 of a second again, may go even a bit higher, so that I'm getting movement but detail in that water flow. And then down here we've got all these bubbles that are swirling round. At 1/4 of a second they are just frozen. So what I'm doing as well is taking another shot at about 13-15 seconds, which is then picking up the movement in these bubbles swirling around. So what I'll do is, again, I'll blend the two shots together, let you have a look, and I'll put it up. Let me know what you think. come up the other leg of the river, which is these rocks here are normally all completely covered in flowing water and you've got no chance of getting to it, but it's given us some nice opportunities where you wouldn't normally be able to get to. So again, using this shot, using these foreground rocks here with some moss on, with a bit of foreground detail, nice pool in the middle, which is using the polarizer to take the glare down, and then that waterfall in the background. That's looking quite nice. So on the video, I took a couple of different exposures on one of the images, on one of the scenes, to exposure blend those two images together. One to give a slower exposure, giving extra, showing the movement more in the foreground water and showing the movement of the bubbles. And the second exposure was on the waterfall itself, which was slightly faster at 1/4 of a second, which was slow enough to show some movement in the water, but not to blow it out and make it look like a load of mist. So I'm just going to open Photoshop now, and I'll talk you through my process with blending those two images. Okay, so here we are in Photoshop. I've got the two images here. I've got the slower exposure showing this movement in the water and focusing on this foreground rock here to get a nice detailed foreground shot there, and then this shot here which is focusing more back on this plane with a slightly faster shutter speed of 1/4 of a second, which is giving us a bit more detail in that waterfall. So what we're going to do to start with is go to File, down to Scripts, and load files into Stack. We're got the two files open in Photoshop, so we're going to add those two open files, and we're going to attempt to automatically line the source. Because I've got two different focus areas, the focus plane will be slightly different in the two images, so by doing that it will line them up, and Photoshop will do its best and give us a better starting point. So there we are. That's we've now got the two images loaded into a stack. You can see around the edge there's a slight framing. That is where Photoshop has lined the two images up to get these edges to all line up properly. So what we've got there is the bottom image is the slower exposure, so I'll name that one slow so that I know which one is which, and the top one I'm going to put waterfall so that I know. When you've only got the two open, there's no real need to do that. It's just showing you sometimes if you've got extra layers, it's good to name them so you know where you are. So what we're going to do is click on the waterfall one, which is the image we're seeing at the moment, and we're going to create a mask on there. We're going to create the white mask. Grab our brush tool. Make sure we've got the black exposed there, which will bring out the bottom layer, and then we're just painting over the areas that we want to show through from that bottom layer. So obviously, because this foreground rock here was also the focus point on this slower exposure, I'm also bringing that through on the mask. Just increase brush size so we can get more in.
Sort of that there, and then we're going around, just going up to the waterfall and bringing in all the areas that we want to pick up the slower exposure. You can see on the mask over here where the areas are darkened out. So what that has done is darkened out, taken out the areas in this top layer so that we can see this bottom layer below it. If you went too far, if you went up over the waterfall and you did too much, and you wanted to bring that back because you've taken that out of the top layer, if you transfer your brush back to the white again and then paint over the areas you want to bring back in, and then that will just re-show those layers, that top layer. So there we go. We'll just do a slight crop quickly just to get rid of that bit of a framed edge. So very quickly, that is how to blend two images together. What I did also do on the original image, on this flow here, which is obviously the slow exposure, we can bring up the dodge tool, set to highlights. It's set at 74 exposure at the moment, just to bring, and then I'm just brushing over those, and just bring out those highlights just a little bit more of the on that flow. So there you go. Hopefully you've enjoyed this very quick tutorial. If you want to see more of this, please comment down below and I'll try and do a few more in the future.
Okay, a few nice slow exposure shots there. Some water flow, a few different compositions, and not exactly what I came here for, but never mind. Conditions not quite ready for the bluebells just yet. But anyway, it's been an enjoyable morning, so I'm gonna make my way back now. Thanks again for checking out the channel, and if you like what you're seeing, please hit the subscription button and the notification bell to keep up the latest content, and give the video a thumbs up. That would be much appreciated, and drop a comment. As always, it's always great to get some feedback. So till next time, thanks again for watching. Take it easy.